its elected officials, or employees. The producer of this program is solely responsible for its content.
We're back. What do you want to do? Hello, everybody. This is the second Monday in September. The reason being, in September, we always have to kind of, let you guys relax, and we relax as Labor Day, and as much as this is a labor of love for all of us here at 14, and of course our mayor, we just thought we'd let you have that Monday night off. So this is the second Monday in September, and we thought with the school year coming back together and kids going back to school that we would do a show a little bit focused on that. From the rumors that I have, and I should probably look on here, is that we are on Facebook Live. So if you're watching us on Facebook Live, you can actually send in a question, and our crew in the other room is going to send the question in to us. Now, here's the thing. I think you're wonderful people. Love all of you. It's a question. It's not a soapbox. It's not something that you might want to do at the town hall and get up and speak there for 2 or 3 minutes. We don't have the time here. So if you have a question, please bring it forward. Send it up on Facebook. You can be as anonymous as you want, pretty much like our mayor, Roy Z. How are you, Mr. Mayor? Good to see you.
Good to see you, Steve. Let me tell you, this is the penultimate program for me.
The what?
Penultimate.
I love when you talk that way.
That means second to last.
You're amazing. I think you're saying that just to impress our guests.
I am.
Penultimate.
Penultimate.
Okay, so this is...
like peninsula is almost an island. Penultimate is almost the ultimate.
God, I'm going to miss you and all the wonderful
all
things
this
that I've
erudition you're getting for no charge.
I'll be looking for you on Young Farm while you're out there tickling the birds.
Sounds good to me.
Well, yeah. So this is the second to the last show for your mayor, and then you think he was troublesome as a mayor? Wait till you see him when he's not the mayor. It's not going to be a pretty thing. So Roy, I understand you're wearing your blue and gold. It's time to go back to school, and those are our school colors.
That's right. And these are the Newington High School colors. Even though I'm not an alum of Newington High School, these are also Trinity College colors, and I'm an alum of Trinity College, so I'm covering all the bases. And I chose this specifically. I was able to find it on my tie rack because of our special guest tonight,
who's also an alum.
Alum. We are especially honored. This is the first time, I believe, we've had a superintendent of schools on a Talk to the Mayor show.
Wonderful.
Dr. Maureen Brummett, welcome.
Well, thank you very much.
Welcome not only to Talk to the Mayor. I hope you won't run out of here screaming, but you got to watch this guy.
Oh, yeah, they blame everything on me.
That's what I'm told, but I'll mind my P's and Q's.
Well, no, welcome. This is terrific. Is this, and I'm gonna get myself in trouble here, is this the first time we've had, I know other than interim, is this the first time we've had a woman as our superintendent of schools?
Yes.
Okay, good. I just want to make sure. I don't want to get anybody said here. So congratulations.
Thank you.
This is such a big scene. I know you do quite a extensive search when you're looking for this, and you found her.
The Board of Ed found her in Plainville.
Right in our own backyard?
That's right.
My gosh.
So for cash and 2 future draft picks.
When you were approached, were you excited, or were you kind of like happy where you were and a little bit hesitant?
I was happy where I was, but when I saw the posting and what Newington was looking for, I thought it might be a good fit. So I threw my hat in the ring.
Wow. Well, for people that haven't had the opportunity to meet you yet or read things in the paper, tell us a little bit about your background, growing up in town, going to school in town. What was it like?
Well, I grew up actually originally in Watertown, where I went to elementary school, moved to Newington for middle school, attended St. Mary's. That's how I got to meet Dave Millardo, the best teacher I had there.
And his mom was one of my teachers, Mrs. Millardo, when I was in elementary school.
Really?
So to me, Dave's always going to be a kid. But yeah, he's a great guy. So that's when you met him.
Met him through middle school, and then I did attend Newington High School and graduated from Newington High. So that was my connection to the school district, finishing my educational career prior to college here, and I had a great experience.
And what year, what class are you in Newington High?
Class of '82.
Oh my gosh. Oh, my class just had their 45th reunion.
Yeah, we're getting up there,
82.
too.
Oh, my gosh, 82. Well, congratulations.
You kids, I'll tell you.
That's right. You're still going, right?
You're still in high school.
One of these days, I'm going to fill the requirements and get that diploma.
You're always learning. Now, and you went to college here, too, right?
I went to College of West Hartford, University of St. Joseph, and it was St. Joseph College at the time, but I stayed local for that. And then I moved out of state for a while, up in Watertown, New York, and out of Spokane, Washington. Then made my way back to Connecticut and lived in Newington for a while, and my daughter attended Patterson. Mm-hmm. And then I landed a position with Plainville Schools, and I was there for 21 years.
I guess that's the question is, what about your family? Tell us a little bit about that.
Oh, thank you. I've got parents, Bev and Tim Luddy, still living in town.
Oh, yeah, we know Tim. Yep.
They're very active in the community. My brother is also Tim. He graduated from Newington High in '81, and he lives up in Rochester, New York, as an engineer and, believe it or not, a reverend of a church.
Wow.
And then my sister lives in Pomfret, Connecticut, and she has 2 children, one of whom went through the school system as a young boy, and she's in retail, rather.
Yeah, I think Tim did some time here with us at 14. Also, everybody puts in their time here. But I do remember it. I think my crew
I'll have to ask him
could tell me that. Yeah. Well, he's probably going to deny it like most of everything else. So
I'll neither confirm nor deny.
So, Mr. Mayor, tell us a little bit. I mean, I know Dr. Collins did a great job, great track record. You're coming into a school that seems to be in a strong situation now. But what are some of the challenges that you see as you move forward? Both of you guys.
Well, I think some of the biggest challenge has been communication between the 3rd floor where the Board of Education is and the 2nd floor where the Town Hall is. Mm-hmm. And a lot of that gap seems to have been bridged during Pam Uraka's tenure as interim.
Great job.
And we're hoping it continues, and it's shown signs of continuing because for the first time in anybody's memory, town officials were invited to the Newington School Convocation a couple of weeks ago, just before the start of school.
Well, for people who don't know, what is a convocation?
Literally, it means calling together. The con is together, and the voco, from Latin voco, vocare, to call.
I'm going to miss this.
Right. It was excellent vocabulary.
I think Dr. Brummett would be a much better explainer of the purpose of convocation than I am.
It's meant to kick off the year in a very celebratory manner. So I thought it'd be important to invite our town officials. I was thrilled when the mayor came in, the town manager, a town council member, police chief.
Yep.
So I'm glad that they were excited to be there. We celebrate our Teacher of the Year during Convocation, Stacy Michaud. She's a teacher at Patterson.
Yep.
And then we talk about teachers who've served a number of years, 5, 10, 15 years of service. Mm-hmm. And then we capped it off with a version of We Will Rock You, only we made it Newington Schools Will Rock You, and all the administrators sang that song. The high school principal, Tara Tigno, did the lyrics with some help from the administrative team.
She's great.
And we had a great time with it, complete with guitars.
Did Dave Millardo play?
I couldn't get him to play. He was busy that day. But I did invite Michael Piccioni, Dr. Michael Piccioni. He's a graduate of class of '83, who's an amazing guitarist. He was our Brian May.
Oh, great.
And he did a fantastic job, made the newspaper and everything. So it was a very nice grand finale.
Do we have any footage of any of this? Did anybody videotape anything?
We have some small shots of it, not the full video, which I'm kicking myself, but because I think it would have been amazing to have on YouTube or something. But
to have right here on 14.
Well, that would have been another thought, but I don't think we have anything full out.
Wow. So now, what do you see as what's your first goal? I mean, I know wasn't Anna Reynolds one of the schools they wanted to work on? What kind of things are coming up?
I'm absolutely very motivated to begin the work on Anna Reynolds. There's a building committee that's going to start meeting at the end of the month. And Anna Reynolds will be front and center of that. They're certainly in need of a renovate as new. I'd love to see us also do a little work on John Wallace. Their wings are kind of an era of the 70s in which classroom walls were collapsible. And Now we need them to be a little more secure than that, so we'd like to look at that. Another huge goal of mine is to expand preschool services in the town. So that's something I did in my former district where we have universal preschool, and that's one of my goals for Newington eventually. It takes time.
Didn't we, and excuse me if I don't know when it ended or if it's still going on, wasn't that what Necky was part of? Was that town-wide preschool? Or?
They are more of a daycare, but they also offer like a preschool service.
Okay.
This would be eventually children attending preschool in the school that they'll ultimately go to kindergarten in.
Nice.
And it'll be through, the school district. So slowly but surely we'll get that rolling within the next couple of years, certainly starting next year. I also want to expand our social emotional supports for children. We just added 2 social workers at the elementary level, so every school has a full-time social worker now at the elementary level. We use some offsets to afford that. And I'm also looking for ongoing work on standards-based grading and standards-based education. So a lot going on. Those are some initial goals.
What is standards-based grading? I'm used
Thank
to
you for asking that.
A, B's, well, I would not A and B, I'd go C, D. And standard-based instructions, what is that?
Standards-based instruction is where the children are very aware of, students, what they're shooting for. What is the standard that we're working on today in English class? To write a persuasive essay with the appropriate amount of detail and evidence. So that's an example of a standard. And then in some school districts, they've actually gotten to the point where that's how the report cards look. And in our district, they look that way at the elementary level already, but we'd love to see at least some level of reporting out in a standards-based way. It may not replace traditional grading, but it would give everyone, including parents and students, more of an understanding of what they're actually learning. Yeah, so it's absolutely gets kids more engaged, too, when they're actually realizing, I'm learning this, and this is why I'm learning it.
If you're just joining us right now, this is the second Monday in September, this being September 9th. We are doing your Talk to the Mayor program live on Facebook this time. So if you're watching us on Facebook and you want to send in a question, please feel free to enter that question. And we have our crew in the back room looking for your questions. So if there's anything you'd like to ask, you don't have to call on the phone anymore. You can just ask a question and then they'll feed the question through to us. So this is something new for us. Hopefully you like it. It seems like, everybody has difficult times in trying to watch us on television, all the different stations. Everybody's on Facebook, which means you're probably on Facebook right now. So feel free to ask us any question you like, and they'll send it through. We do have a question right here. Dr. Brummett, can the Newington schools display the Smart Bus at their Waterfall Festival?
Well, that's a good question. I'm going to have to look into that. I have not yet seen the Smart Bus.
Oh, okay.
I know where it exists, and I've seen it on our website, but I don't know how it rolls out and how to make those arrangements, but I will definitely look into that.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Sure.
As the superintendent, you can say, "Thou shalt," and it will happen. Is that how it works?
Sometimes. Not all the time.
Yeah.
We all have processes to go through.
So when you, and speaking of which, you got to look at where we're at with our buses now. I know we're still talking about trying to find some place to store them. So that's got to be fairly high on your priority list. What do we look at what are we looking at there, Mr. Mayor? I'm putting you on the spot right in front of her.
Why not? Well, first we got to get the town hall out of the way.
Okay, good. Okay,
right?
Okay.
And
I noticed there's some construction over there.
That's still got a year and a half to go at least. Ran into another snag with the Metropolitan District because there was a water line that was too close to the proposed projected building exterior, so that came up, and I believe that work has been done, the relocation to move it away from the building.
Mm-hmm.
And that's basically it. Yes,
so
bus storage is an issue. Dr. Brummett brought up the big priority right now, which is the Anna Reynolds building committee. That was one the council decided we're not going to lose sight of it. We want to get the town hall done. Once the town hall is underway, Anna Reynolds is next. So, for once, we did something we said we were going to do.
Well, it's good to do that every now and then.
I know, and the committee is, as Dr. Brummett said, meeting, I think, on the 30th.
That's my understanding, the 30th. And I've brought it up at some PTA meetings, just letting families know that it's on the horizon, and there's some excitement building, especially with the thought of that's going to move forward.
Yes.
I think everyone knows Anna Reynolds is a little bit
it's-
overdue for a little facelift.
It was the only school that hadn't been done.
Correct.
Really, and
And an amazing, like all our schools, but a lot of those teachers, like my sister Kathy, she was over there for a long time, and hats off to the teachers over there that have, worked through some tough stuff.
Absolutely.
Some of
Yeah.
the classes were done over, and some weren't, but just a great crew over there. We're going to try to have air conditioning at some point in all of our schools.
Yes, we're gradually doing that throughout the schools, and most of them are, except for a couple of rooms. But Anna Reynolds, I would imagine, as part of the renovation, would be fully air conditioned.
Mm-hmm.
But I will say this, our facilities department is excellent, and our maintainers, that's why schools continue to look great even when they're aging. We do make the most of what we can, and our facilities department works really hard.
He looks good too, even though he's aging.
I'll let you say that.
Hang on, Mr. Mayor. I'm looking at our Facebook right now. No, it really is. It's amazing to see how the system has just changed through the years. And are we finding now that we're getting a stronger group of students back in the baby boomers and back in our generation, not yours but ours? We needed all this space for the amount of children we have. How are we doing now as far as overall space goes in our schools? Do we've got too much space, or are we hitting it where we need to be?
For most schools, we're pretty much right where we should be, and there's maybe Patterson has a few extra rooms, but I've already earmarked some of those for preschool. But no, I would say having toured all of our schools, we are certainly pretty much at capacity with some flexibility.
Yeah, so the numbers are overall enrollment is about 4,000.
Just a hair under 4,000.
I saw in the packet too your projected enrollment versus actual enrollment. You were only 2 off.
Yeah, very close. I think we
You're
were.
really going to have to tighten that up.
I'm trying, but people move in, people move out. But we tend to stay fairly stable,
Yeah.
right, hovering at 4,000.
Good.
4,000. Holy Toledo.
Yeah.
All right, here we are. I'm looking at. Okay, guys, we are.
I actually have a question. Somebody's
No, I'm
watching.
No, I'm actually trying to find out how it works. But I think you got to go to the Newington Community Television page, NCTV. Go up there on Facebook and see what kind of havoc you can raise. But hopefully this is really cool. I just did a program recently like this, and people just love to go on there. So we figured we'd give it a shot.
Why are these lights always flickering?
I think it's probably because you've been our mayor for just.
Is that it?
Yeah, we're all good. We're all good.
All right.
Everything's hunky dory. Let's talk about security a little bit in our school
That's
system.
a good point.
That's a huge focus. I work.
Especially with what's happening across the country now.
It's hard to go a few days without something bad happening on the news. I work very closely with Rich Klett, our security officer, and he runs a very tight ship. We have decided to develop a safety and security committee this year that allows folks at each school to have some input into what they're seeing and just kind of get everyone to have input on any concerns they have. But I believe our schools are very safe. Every year we implement some additional safety standards, and that's just a continuous improvement area. But I'm confident that we're in very good shape security-wise.
Now, for our children and again students, as we know that they're going through some high school years and stuff. What about when I was a kid? When I went there, everybody smoked. You could go outside, you could smoke. You could smoke on the sidewalk. You could, not in the school, but, pretty darn close. And then, I know there's so many feet now. It has to be, people have to be away. Is this like totally away now?
Yes.
Or, okay, so nowhere.
No smoking on school grounds.
But I mean, if you go across the street, can you? I'm not trying to.
Oh, across the street, I suppose. But anything that's considered school grounds is smoke-free.
Okay.
That's state law now, isn't it?
Yes, it is state law.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Again, I don't know. Do we see? Again, how about vaping? Do you see? I know it's not. Do we see that as something that's growing in our school population?
Yes, actually we do. In fact, we have been on the second 2 weeks from Monday, we have a speaker coming in from Yale to talk to our students about vaping. And Senator Blumenthal actually will be there because he is forming a task force on how to address the vaping in his articulation, and I think I agree, crisis, because kids are getting sick from it, and, both with tobacco and other illicit substances. So I do see that as an important thing for us to work with our students on, making sure they're aware of the hazards. And we address it in health class, but this professor from Yale will be there to give us some of her insights into what are the hazards of vaping.
Yeah, it's a whole new world. It
really is.
When it first came on the scene, everybody thought, "Oh, great! Now it's better than cigarettes." Now we're finding out it could be very, very bad,
Yeah, I
just
think
as bad, if not worse.
There is bad.
Folks have gotten a false sense of security that it's not harmful, but apparently it's going to create a new set of health issues.
And it already has.
That sounds
Judging
like
from
it.
what I'm reading in the paper about the lung illnesses that are turning up in kids that have vaped for a while. So something else. So what other changes are you think you're going to be looking to make, or improvements or developments?
Well, I think it'd be important for me to say that Newington Schools does a great job, and I don't get to take any credit for that because I've only been on the job for 3 months. They have a very strong administrative team. I've met all summer long with my team, and I'm very excited about their commitment to teaching and learning and cultivating that amongst their teachers. We have a strong teaching staff who I've gotten slowly getting to know as time rolls along. One of my initiatives this year is called Instructional Rounds, and it's based out of the medical rounds model that's out of Harvard. And we're going to, as a central office team, myself, assistant superintendents, and other central office administrators are going to visit schools on a monthly basis and observe teaching and learning and try to look at what's going well, what might need to be tweaked a little bit. So it's a really good way of getting to the heart of what's going on in the classroom. So I'm excited to bring that forward.
Well, one of my favorite things to discuss, and only because I did go through it, Martin Kellogg, and it was a different world then, but how are you planning on addressing the numbers of bullying incidents that we're seeing, and what are we doing to kind of ride herd on that and make our kids, and especially I know there's a tremendous amount of it in junior high, even much more so in the past, we've seen it there versus high school. So what are we doing as far as maybe making these kids feel a little bit safer when they go to school?
Bullying is something that comes to my attention quite a bit. Parents are very concerned about it. So when we get reports of bullying at the school level, we're required by law to do a thorough investigation and then report back to the parents whether it was substantiated enough or not. And then no matter if it's bullying or not, if a child's being bothered at school, there's typically a consequence. The problem that parents are concerned about is that we can't tell them what the consequences were for the perpetrator, and that makes them, somewhat frustrated because they sometimes believe, okay, nothing was really done, when in fact, behind the scenes, there's been consequences. The child has had to do something to make it right, or they've been, advised or given a detention or what have you. So, that part is challenging for parents, but we do a lot of work with anti-bullying. We do a lot of lessons on how to interact with your peers and teaching kids to stand up to someone who's a bully, or if there's someone that sees it, report it to an adult. So we work on that all the time with our children, as little as elementary school straight up through high school. It's something we take seriously because it can have devastating consequences for kids. Yeah,
and plus the stuff now that follows them home and on the internet, and and parents are got to watch these things, and it's tough out there. And I'm only throwing this at you because I saw it on the news I think a year or two ago, which I thought was neat, and maybe it's something worth exploring. The Board of Ed can look at. One of the schools where bullying was an issue, what they did was they had every single kid in the school write down the names of the top 5 bullies, all anonymous. And then they submitted them, almost like just in a box anonymously, or handed them in. And that way that the teachers and the administrators go, why do these names keep coming up? And kind of like, without anybody feeling like they ratted on anybody, but saying, we know who you are. We're going to keep watching you. And they found actually with some of the students, if they gave them a little responsibility, even they were a little bit better. I mean, it just for thought, that was just something there. Because I think when I was a kid at Martin Kellogg, I brought it on myself. I knew that. And plus I was a little guy with a big mouth. Still am. But the problem was, I was getting picked on because, I don't know, it's 7th grade, and I looked at, the wrong kid's girl the wrong way. I don't know, it's something, but it started like that. And then fortunately, I had somebody's older brother step in and just say, hey, leave him alone, thank God for that kid. But at school, you're terrified to walk down the halls. You're terrified to tell your parents even that you're getting picked on. So that's some pretty. But maybe now with maybe it's more top of the news these days, and maybe kids are. Do we have a way of addressing, like an assembly or anything, to tell kids it's okay to talk about this?
We do that quite a bit, and I've noticed in all of our schools, from elementary right through to high school, that we have a kindness campaign where kids are encouraged to do something nice for someone else. I see messaging like that throughout all our schools. Last year, I believe it was Martin Kellogg, had their children, one of the teachers organized an effort for the kids labeled the stairway of one hallway with all these kindness messages and messages of inspiration. So I think it's on the forefront of all that we do, that it's not right to be unkind to your peers, and here's what you do if you see something that's not right. And they can do it anonymously. I think kids are very comfortable, though, talking to school counselors, our social workers, or a trusted teacher if someone's bothering them. We often, I think, do hear about it. I think the problem is that we can't always tell parents what the investigation, all the components of it, and that can be frustrating.
That's got to be tough for the parents.
It is.
Are you really doing something?
It really is tough for parents.
Is that just because of privacy issues?
It is. We have strict FERPA laws that we cannot reveal any of the consequences. Sometimes parents will say, well, I want to see the video footage of what happened at school, and we can't show that because it's a school record. So we're bound by a lot of regulations, but all we can do is assure parents we've taken action, and then encouraging the student who's being bothered or bullied to keep telling us if there's any further incidences so we can go right at it and nip it in the bud.
You mentioned HERPA. I know we hear about HIPAA or HEPA. HIPAA.
HIPAA is a medical term.
Medical.
FERPA is federal protection for student rights.
Oh, okay.
And it's just gives us guidance on not releasing any student records without express parental permission. And for those reasons, we cannot tell a parent, because most likely if we ask the parent of the child who had done something wrong, can we discuss your child's consequences with someone else, they'd probably say no. So we're bound by those laws. And but it's in this child's best interest that their records are not released without parental consent, or when they're 18, their consent. So it's meant to protect children from any type of disclosures.
All right, if you're just joining us now, that's her right there. You just saw her on camera. Adding a little class to town. This is Maureen Brummett, Dr. Maureen Brummett. Superintendent, give me the whole thing. Is it all fit on your business card? I mean, what's your whole title?
It does. Maureen Brummett, Superintendent of Schools, and you can sometimes call me Dr. Brummett if you'd like, or you can put EDD at the end of it if you'd like. I answer to all of those.
And you just joined us. This is your first year with us.
Sure.
But maybe, Mr. Mayor, can you talk a little bit about what was involved? I mean, you're obviously very aware of what's going on with the Board of Ed and stuff. I mean, how much of a digging was this? It took a while to come up with her.
You'd have to ask them, because this was the board show. The council had nothing to do with it.
Okay, so you're not in that loop at all.
The only exposure I had, and I never told you this, was you were being interviewed up in the Helen Nelson room, and it was in the evening, and I was walking by because I was doing something in my office, and I saw the back of your head. That's all
Okay.
That was it.
Did it look okay?
It looked fine. It looked fine, but I think it speaks well of the board that, first of all, they made a sterling choice. Second of all, the process did not drag on at all. And Pam Uraka left, Maureen came in, and we're off and running.
We're off and running. Yeah.
And
You mentioned Rich Klett, and maybe you could talk a little bit more about the security at the high school. So I know there's a lot there that I've gone through there, and I've known Rich for a long time, and there's a lot of things that you can't, they won't talk about. They won't even talk about to anybody about. I don't even know. They might be keeping some stuff from, the big cheese. But but they always say also that there isn't a car that can come anywhere near that property that they're not looking at.
No, they have extensive security cameras. They have the ability to lock the school down very, very quickly, and that's true for all of our schools.
Yeah.
Good.
And our visitors have to come through the office. They can't, enter the building and roam about. Our students are even trained not to open the door to folks from the outside, so they understand that they have to go through our security door. So there's just tremendous amount of security going on. We have extensive plans with all various scenarios thought about. And I have to say, with having Rich Klett on staff, as well as a security team at the high school and then security folks at each school, I feel like we are in very, very good shape. And we have an SRO at the school too, which is always
School resource officer.
yes, yep. And he's great with the kids. I've had an opportunity to talk to him a few times.
And is that Tim?
Kaufman, Officer
Yeah.
Kaufman.
Oh no, that's right. Tim did it before him. Yeah, that's Dan. Yeah, he's a great guy, and
He's great.
kids love him. Yeah,
And that's critical for that role. It's not just about having a policeman on high school property. It's about someone that can relate to the students, can develop relationships, and those are other trusted adults that kids may come up to and say, "Hey, I've got something I know about that I need to talk to you about." So they're just another layer of support and security for the school.
Yeah, it's tough, but I mean, you've got to look around where, people have asked before, do we need to look at things like key card for kids to get into school? Or, some people say, well, that'll slow the process down, but are these things that we need to be looking at?
Well, all kids enter the school through the same door.
Okay.
So we have a very contained entry every day. And if something were to happen, we could respond to it very, very quickly. Adults have to come in with a key entry, or they have to be buzzed in and be noticed on site before they're allowed in. So I think those are things that are quite tight. I think handing out cards to kids might be tricky because sometimes they don't always bring them, and then we'll have another issue on our hands.
Or they lose them.
Which they do have ID badges, so they have to have those, but they're not key cards. They do get them into the library and also helping with their lunch scanning, but that's about it in terms of entry points.
So is it like a skew on the back of their ID cards? Is that how they do it?
Yes. Yes, it's like a Scantron kind of thing.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's all modernized.
What about as far as our counselors go in the different schools? I know when I was at Newington High, I had a great student counselor. That was Mr. Ashton back then, and he was somebody you could turn to. How are we doing on that side, and maybe the social with.
Social workers?
Yeah.
Yeah, we have not only the counselors that you and I had with the 3 houses, each have a counselor, but the high school now has 2 social workers and a psychologist. And we also have a new program at the high school called Effective School Solutions. It's an agency that comes in with additional support. So we are in very good shape with supports for our kids at the high school. I think it's much needed because kids come in with challenges. Each middle school has their own social worker and 3 counselors, and the elementary schools each have a social worker and a school psychologist. So we've got quite a bit of support for our kids.
Whew, can't stump this woman. Man, this is tough. You got anything you want to ask her before we let her go?
I'm trying to think. Well, let's see.
Is there anything you'd like to add? Only because we're going to get into some other business here.
Oh, no problem. I just appreciate the opportunity to come out and talk about what's happening in the school district, and I definitely would like to have our town involved in our school system and coming in to visit, and they're invited to see Senator Blumenthal and Yale in 2 weeks. So
I'll be there.
Excellent. No, I think it's important for us all to be on the same page and to be working toward the same goals.
Sounds like a plan.
I think it's really terrific, and I know a lot of people were really excited when they saw in the newspaper that you were coming, especially
thank you.
when you can bring home, somebody back to their home.
It's been very, very nice. I've been excited to come to a district that I actually went to school in and hopefully make an impact.
I think you will.
She babysat for my nephews, Lieutenant Morgan in Newington and Sergeant Morgan in Rocky Hill. Not recently.
No, I don't think they would need me anymore.
Well, maybe we can get some stories out of here.
My sister and I tag team it, but I don't think I have any good stories. They were pretty well-behaved kids, as I recall.
Well, I know my sister Kathy Morgan and her husband Jack. I know they said some wonderful things about you. So it's really there's nothing better than having somebody local come back. And I know it's the same thing on the police department. If you can get somebody who grew up in the town, it makes a big difference.
Right.
Absolutely. We're invested in the community, and it's a great community. I'm thrilled to be here.
That's right.
All right.
We're glad you're here.
If there's anybody, one last thing, only because we are still, working out the bugs with this Facebook stuff. How do people get a hold of you? Can they send you a message? Is there? How do they go through the school's email?
I would recommend. I respond to all my emails within 24 hours. That's mbrummett@npsct.org. Or you can call my office. I don't think I've memorized that phone number yet, but call the superintendent's office at the town hall. I also you can reach me through our website.
Yeah.
There's a superintendent button you can push. And those are the best ways.
Is it Facebook too?
We have Facebook mostly to push information out. We don't have a lot of responders on it, but it's more of a push of information out to the community.
Okay, and then one last thing before you go. Just again, I keep going back to security. How's our system set up as far as what is it, robocalls or whatever? If we do have a problem or something.
That's right.
I have that. Yep.
The Everbridge or something.
We call it School Messenger.
Yeah.
And it's used for when I cancel school when there's a snow day. When I did a welcome back message to welcome kids back last week. I actually put a little welcome back Cotter music on that one.
Oh, God.
I like to do songs for my snow days, so maybe you'll hear about those. But yeah, School Messenger in the event of any emergency. Like last week, our phones went down for a little while in the schools. Pushed all that out to parents to let them know about it. So it's an excellent system to get parents information quickly, and they can get it text, a voicemail, or an email. Or all the above.
All right. Well, thank you for joining us.
All right. It's a pleasure.
This is Maureen Brummett, the new superintendent of schools in Newington, and obviously making herself readily available if you have any questions or concerns.
Right.
So don't try to move. You will be electrocuted.
No, somebody's going to come in and unhook you from all the electronics.
We'll sing and dance over here when John comes in to
That's so you don't light up.
I don't want to blow up.
Won't be a good thing. Thank you so much. So best of luck.
Thank you, Maureen.
And our lines are always open here if you need to have us put anything up on 14 or on the scroll or whatever we can do for you. All right. Now, so Mr. Mayor, one of the biggest things that came up recently was saying goodbye to local market.
I heard about that. Yeah, I haven't been over that. I hate to say it. Maybe one of the reasons they folded is I haven't been over there in quite some time.
Well, I got to tell you, and I saw a lot of wonderful comments, and I know they tried to do their best. Considering they're mostly a lot of them out of New York, and I know they had the responsibility of the plaza. But one of the concerns I did have, and I've said this repeatedly, when the first time I went in there, the first time I went in and I had a question, I had a concern, the service counter was always closing early. And to me, if you're going to be open, your service has to be open.
That's right. To me, it seems like they were always understaffed.
Yeah.
Like I noticed that too. There was always a closed placard up on the service counter. There were not nearly enough cashiers at peak times.
Yep.
When I was going there was no self-checkout.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I haven't seen that either.
And when you had a bottle return slip, you had to give it to the cashier, who had to call the supervisor over it. So in a way, I think their own process sort of shot them in the foot. It may be a New York City state of mind, but this isn't New York City.
Newington.
There are certain amenities Newington shoppers expect, and they would find it. Stop and Shop or Stu Leonard's and
Price Chopper.
And they weren't getting it there. Now they did have an excellent beer selection. I will give them that.
But obviously, man cannot live on beer alone.
Well, we've tried in our younger days, and look what happened to us. We ended up with an elected official.
Well, it's it is tough, and I have said this before, and I know that if we're fortunate enough to get another store down there to be wonderful, I'd rather see something like that versus no offense to these big stores that are selling low discount like the Ocean Estates and all that. But I did. I really believe, and we do the numbers. We look at the demographics in the downtown center, and we look at the senior housing around there, and can they support a market? But don't you think if we had something, I believe that if we had something like a Trader Joe's. If we had a name that was something that would pull people in,
you ever been to West Side and Rocky Hill? West Side Market.
Yep, you go out of your way to go there.
Yep. I mean, they've built it up. They've done it right between the groceries and their prepared foods, their deli, their seafood section. We're always going in there.
Highland Park Market.
Highland Park's another one. maybe we ought to see if one of those two concerns is interested in picking up this space and opening up.
Well, I know that they took the plaza, and of course the plaza's been light on business for a long time. So if they're getting out of the grocery store, will that same company be holding on to the plaza?
I don't know.
Yeah, that's really it's a tough thing. It took us forever, and thank you to Best Market for at least giving it a shot and coming in here, and they really did try.
They did.
Where a lot of other people, just kind of went, that was then and this is now. We also had another restaurant, again, in the old location where the 99 was. Now
Saz is gone, and who was it? Somebody is looking at coming in. I heard, and I don't know if it's true or not, Flying Monkey that's down at Brainerd Field is coming up there. I
tell you something. If it is, that is a great restaurant. In fact, Junior is the owner's name, and he used to be at Ruth's Chris. And I can tell you, if you really want a meal, and it's very funky because it's down at Brainerd Field.
Yeah.
It's just a little pub and the food, and they do a brunch like you can't believe. But I was blown away when I had a steak, and I said, I can't believe how good this is. And they said, yeah, the owner worked at Ruth's Chris for a long time.
Speaking of food.
Yes.
Have you been to the South End Bakery?
I heard about it. No.
Oh, you got to be there.
Yep.
You got to go there. You got to go hungry.
Really?
Go hungry. Let me tell you, they stuff the cannolis to order. They're not all stuffed sitting in the case. You go tell them what kind of filling you want. They go back. They fill it. They give it to you. Excellent cappuccino. Great assortment of pastries. It's up on Brockett Street where Vita Dolce used to be.
That's great that another bakery came in.
You bet. They came out of the South End of Hartford. I'm an old South End boy. I was there for the ribbon cutting. Great time.
And now we've got Artichoke Pizza. It's been doing well.
Artichoke Pizza. Gregorio's is in Stretch's spot up on Cedar and Main.
No.
Yeah, next to Starbucks.
Okay, what's Gregorio's?
Gregorio's. It's a new pizza and bistro place. Granted, I'm an Elm Hill, Steve's, Grinders kind of guy, but Gregorio's is all right. You can get pizza by the slice there. So, if I'm in a rush and working out of here, I can just rush up there, grab a slice of pizza, put it in the microwave, and not fall over from hunger.
And that other place is still doing gangbusters. Is I'm going to get the name on Cakes. What's the place?
Little Cakes.
Little Cakes.
Little Cakes. I had breakfast there maybe 3 weeks ago or so. They're still good. They've got a good niche business. They have the following, and good for them. Good for them. And let's see. Up at Indian Hill, Casamia is going to be taking over the restaurant operation. Casamia at the Hawthorne.
From the Hawthorne,
They're going to be taking that over.
Now, does that mean they'll be able to run it as a restaurant so we can go anytime for dinner and such?
I hope that's what they're planning.
Wow, that's great.
Because let me tell you, I was down at the Hawthorne for a banquet.
Phenomenal food.
Earlier in the year.
Phenomenal.
They had the calamari for the appetizer. I just stood at the calamari table. That was all I needed. Best calamari I ever tasted, let me tell you.
Can we grab a quick phone call here?
Sure. Have we got a phone call?
Yeah, Pam Lavery's on the line here.
Oh, yes.
We got the big motorcycle ride, the 15th annual Peter J. Lavery motorcycle ride is coming up this weekend.
Is it this weekend or the following?
No, I think it's coming up this Sunday, isn't it, Pam?
Yes, it is. It's this Sunday, September 15th.
Okay.
All right, so how's everything coming together, Pam? Tell us what we have to look forward to. It's just it's an awesome thing to behold. So you're the driving force behind it with a great team of people helping you out. So what have we got going on?
I have a lot of people who help out. We work for months and months on this. We start in January of every year. So it takes a lot of effort with a lot of people to pull this off. And I get a tremendous amount of help from the community, from the town of Newington, the Parks and Rec Department, the Police Department, the Volunteer Fire Department. Everybody helps out so much that I would not be able to do it at all without their help.
Now, I also just hats
off. We're very fortunate.
You've got
very appreciative.
You got a lot of volunteers that have been with you since the beginning,
the ride is this Sunday. It is at Churchill Park. It starts at registration opens up at 8 o'clock, and Goes until about 9:45. We have an opening ceremony with Pat Whalen, a bagpiper, and Sue Hilario, who sings our national anthem. We say a few words. We have Shark Entertainment, who provides all the music for us. And then the bikes take off around 10 or 10:15 and go through about 6 different towns. We come back to Churchill, where there's a picnic lunch that's provided by Stu Leonard's. So we have a great deal of support. We have coffee in the morning provided by Starbucks of Newington, Main Street, Newington. We get a lot of help from the community.
How about sponsors, Pam? You got a lot of sponsors?
We do. I've said Stu Leonard's and Starbucks. We also have Pronto Printer of Newington. We have General Paving and Construction, KDM Kitchen, Soroy Tool, Trantolo and Trantolo, Shark Entertainment. We have TJ's on Cedar. They help us out with our liquid refreshments. Connecticut Police Supply and John Grist Harley Davidson sell our T-shirts for us.
Wow, and I just love the fact that you got policemen that come in from all over the state of Connecticut, right? It's a motorcycle escorted ride, right? I mean, a police escorted ride.
Yes, we do. We have quite a few motor officers who come from all over the state and escort the ride, blocking all of the intersections, keeping the riders safe from start to finish. It's a wonderful sight to see.
All right, if people want more information, it's coming up this weekend is the ride, right?
This weekend, this Sunday, Churchill Park, 8 a.m. registration starts. Ride takes off by 10:15.
Okay, more information on Facebook?
Facebook and the website, peterlavery.org.
All right, best of luck to you, and God bless you, Pam.
Thank you, Steve.
Keeping Peter's spirit going. Awesome. Thanks a lot.
Great
Thank
job,
you so much.
Pam.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye.
She's an amazing lady.
Yes, she is. She does this. That she sets up a booth at the Motorcycle Madness as well to publicize the event. So, yeah, it's a good way to keep Pete with us.
Oh yeah, and and I've seen you when the 30th of December.
Oh yes.
When everybody gathers there in front of the Peter J. Lavery.
That's right.
What is that? That's the entrance to the police department right there.
Yeah.
And they have the motorcycle there, and of course Pat comes again and plays the bagpipes, and it's a very solemn, quiet affair, and that's when. That was when we actually lost Peter back in 2004.
Right. That's right. Something that never should have happened.
No, and
you never thought it would happen here, but unfortunately it did.
Yeah, and then of course, unfortunately, a few months after that, we lost Kiara McDermott.
Yeah.
Same year. The town took a lot and came back. Thank God. What else is happening over here, Mr. Mayor?
Well, talk about big things. Don't forget Waterfall. We mentioned it. The Waterfall Festival is coming up on the 21st, Saturday the 21st on Market Square.
Are we doing the chalk thing again?
Oh, yeah. It's down there. It's going 10 to 3 with the chalk walk, art contest, the vendors, live entertainment, food. I'll be there.
Oh, right there.
Mainly for the food.
Now,
So there again, September 21st, Market Square. Be there, be square.
Man, oh man. Oh, wait a minute. Market Square, be there, be square. No, if you are there, you're square.
I know.
That's great. What else is happening?
I promised the folks at Vallabhdham Temple I'd mention this too. There's a big Indian festival called the Garba coming up this Saturday, the 14th. It's going to be at the New Britain football field, starting at 6:30. $12 to get in. Going to be live entertainment. There's going to be music. There's going to be dancing. There's going to be food. They're expecting about 5,000 people. I was there last year, and I think that's a reasonable estimate.
How many?
5,000.
Wow.
5,000.
And is that over on Church Street?
It's over in New Britain by the at the football field near Beehive.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, 5,000 people.
And going to be a good time. Going to be a good time. I'm planning to be there myself.
And
I won't be dancing, but I'll be hitting the food booths anyway.
Oh, come on. I've seen you out there when you're shaking that thing.
Oh, you
okay.
betcha.
I'm just trying to look here. I got I guess the Sagarbond Festival is coming up in October, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm just glancing. I got this note from Mark Janney, and let's see.
We got something up here that we've got the Brawlers have a game coming up on September 21st with the details on the NCTV website.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yep. Again, the Brawlers is an amazing success story, and I think support them whenever you can, because it's just he really just takes these guys that have been in many cases incarcerated and had other challenges, and he kind of he has a tremendous success rate when
That's
they come in
right.
there, as far as guys that don't go back in or have any other problems, which is wonderful because they have that focus.
That's
so
right.
where do we get the when are they playing again?
21st, I thought it
Is
said.
that what it said, guys? It was up and it was gone.
September 21st.
All right, and you can go, let's see NCTV page if you'd like more information. Also, another thing I want to point out that we do run the program. We keep them up on the NCTV.org page for months on end. So if there's a program that you would like to see, they do continue to live on there. So this is the program for September, and you may have just joined us now. And Maureen Brummett, Dr. Maureen Brummett, the new
That's right.
superintendent of schools, was our guest. So if you want to find out what's happening with our school system from her point of view, that's certainly something you do want to check out. What else?
Well, I know it's kind of short notice given we're doing this on the 9th. People who see this later on tape might be not relevant, but 2 days from now we're coming up to September 11 and the anniversary. Our Newington Volunteer Fire Department is going to have an observance both in the morning and early evening commemorating the loss, the sacrifice. Starting at 8:30, there's going to be the usual annual ceremony where they'll ring the sirens at 8:45 and 9:03 to mark the times the planes hit the Twin Towers. And then later, at 6:30 p.m., there is going to be a remembrance ceremony for the first responders who died on 9/11. That's open to the public. That's all I have on it right now.
Boy, but I think still a lot of people don't understand when they drive by. You are looking at a piece
of the tower that the department has been able to obtain and establish as a permanent memorial.
It's a beautiful memorial too. The lighting
you've,
on it.
You've got to go by at night to watch the lighting on that. The lighting is really fantastic.
And speaking of driving by at night, I know that the Dukes family over there at the Newington Memorial Funeral Home just had the Cherish Our Children walk that they do every year in memory of children that have passed on, and the friends and family come there and they write messages on a little 3x5 card tied to a carnation, and then they walk from there up to the Angel Box statue at West Meadow Cemetery across from St. Mary's, and they read off the names of the children that have passed, and then a family member or a friend goes up and lays down the carnation, and then they let the doves go at the end. It's so beautiful. And our thoughts and prayers go out to everyone who has been touched by that particular event, and also again to the Dukes family for continuing that on. I saw nice coverage thanks to our friends over there at WFSB. They gave us some nice coverage on that too.
All right.
Anything else?
Yeah, well, we didn't really get a chance to get into it with the superintendent, but
you want to get into that now? Okay, go ahead.
Now that she's not here.
Yeah, right. What's going on?
No, there's a shared services committee, members of both the town council and the board of ed, looking at doing things together, and taking a good hard look, make sure it's going to pay off to combine and how we can best do it. But one of the projects coming up is an overall comprehensive evaluation of all the town-owned facilities, town buildings, school buildings, determine their condition, determine what repair or maintenance needs they need, whether reconstructions should be planned for, and if so, when. And this would involve everything owned by the town.
Wow.
And first time it's been done. Something we originally thought, we being council thought, appoint a committee. But now I think we're leaning more toward hiring a contractor, someone completely from the outside with no ties to Newington, go through the buildings, the schools, library,
Yep.
senior center, town hall, all the buildings that are owned that the taxpayers are paying for, and give a frank assessment of the condition, what they need, when we should plan on doing the work, giving us a best estimate at this point so that we can use it as a planning tool, as a budgeting tool for years to come. And again, it's going to be both sides. It's going to be both the school side and the town side. We're going to be, we're talking, we're communicating. That's a good thing.
Is anything happening here in Newington? And I just, I may have missed a memo on this. Are we doing anything in Newington regarding the primary tomorrow? Or is there?
No,
no. Hartford's probably
nobody's
that,
primary. Hartford's got a hot one going for a Democrat for mayor. Middletown, I think, has one as well, but not here in Newington.
Nobody's duking out yet for your position, huh?
Well, the two parties have each endorsed a candidate. It's going to be Beth Del Buono versus Jim Marachini on November 5th.
Okay.
And November 12th, by about 8:05 p.m., one of them will be sworn in as mayor.
And you'll be the guy dancing down the street.
You betcha.
I made it. I'm alive.
You betcha.
How are we doing on the renovation? We see a lot of construction going on. Are we on target over there?
They're back on target. They've had to put in a lot of overtime to get back on schedule. I've mentioned we had the issue with the MDC. I believe this week should be the time when steel starts to go up. So we'll have to see on that. The building committee is meeting this Wednesday. That is televised by NCTV for those who want to follow along. And take it from there.
And we're there. We have that issue that came up before about expenditures and stuff. Are we all good on that now? Is everything?
The lawsuit?
Yeah.
I haven't heard from the judge yet. She had 120 days from the date of the hearing, and that still hasn't come down yet.
Well, hopefully no news is good news.
Well, I hope so. I hope so.
Well, it's great to see all the construction being done over there. Anything happening at the library? Any other work over there? Or are they pretty well set?
They've got to get some town plan and zoning approvals for some work they want to have done on the buffers. The parking lot seems to be in good shape. Just hope. Well, coming into the winter, we'll find out how good it is. We ran into a problem with the low bid contractor and had to can that outfit and had our people do it, so we know it's done right.
All right, I want to thank...
All right. Whoa, we got 2 minutes to go. Read those names.
Okay, I got to thank our volunteers. Of course, if you ever want to be a volunteer at NCTV 14, the last Thursday of each month, come on in around 7 o'clock or so, speak your piece, and we'll let you get out of here. If you want to be behind the scenes or if you want to do a show of your own, please give it some thought, and we're more than happy to help you out in any way, shape, or form. Want to thank the volunteers that we do have here tonight. We've got Joe Trombetta, Ellen Schiller, Scott Allo, Robert Blank, Robert J. Blank, John Donahue, Vicki Rosenkrantz. I want to thank our guests, of course, Maureen
Brummett.
B-R-U-M-M-E-T-T. Got it. Congratulations to her.
Yes.
You are the best. Thank you so much.
So are you, Steve.
One more show to go.
That's right. That's right.
All right, folks, again.
After the next one, you won't have Zartarian to kick around anymore.
We'll still find a way to bring you in. Wait till you see the best of show. All right, I'm Steve Parker. He's Mayor Z. We're going to get out of here. We'll be back on October 7th for our next program, and it'll be autumn by then. Thanks a lot for watching. Catch you next time.
Night, everybody.
Night, everybody.